Hi, Karan. Good morning.
Good morning.
Hi, Karan.
Hello.
Hi, Karan. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. Yeah, so did you guys tried that what we have discussed yesterday, thing that you have practiced, or do you have any doubt till what we have practiced?
I did not get a chance to work on the same.
Hello? Hello?
Karan, yesterday you assigned one task, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Regarding the dynamism of filling the average marks.
Right.
Actually, before itself, we have done something, but which is not dynamic way. Yesterday also we tried to do in dynamic way.
Mm-hmm.
When compared to the previous one, we have done something in a dynamic way, but finally it also ends up with a somewhat static only. So,
Okay. Can you show me like what you did? Then maybe we'll
yes.
we'll see.
I can't able to present my screen.
Okay. Let me make you presenter. Okay, make presenter.
So is it visible?
Yeah, it's visible.
Hi, Karan. Can we obtain the field value? Like we are giving the field like A1 or B1 or C1, right? Something like that. So if we can we identify the field value there from the program itself? Like in the Excel sheet, if we have a value in some position and we want to identify that value, and can we identify that at
Like
exactly at which position?
Yeah, like in Excel sheet, you have value, right? Let's say if let me open an Excel sheet. So let's say this is a text Excel sheet. Okay, I think if
Yeah.
okay, I think Lakshman has opened his this thing, right? So Lakshman,
Right,
if you
right.
can open any Excel sheet, uh,
Hmm.
so just like you wanted to access some particular column, I mean column, right? Or particular value. Let's say you wanted to access 70 or 89. That's what you are saying?
No, see, right now Mac 89 is present, right? So I want it as a B2, like the column value where it's present. Exactly.
Yeah.
I need the position. So can we obtain that
Uh, Obtain
from
the
the?
position. Okay. So see, the thing is, anyway, our main purpose is like we are adding this to a collection, right?
Yeah.
Like whatever data that we are getting as part of Excel, we are adding to the collection, and then once everything is there in Blue Prism, we are working on it, right?
Mm.
So yeah, now you wanted the position of this particular row, like let's say B2. So B2, it's already like you are getting all the data in the collection. Now it's up to you how you want to access it. But to your question, in MX Excel VBO, you can logically, you can define some logic, let's say, to get the value of the field B2. That you can do. Like you can add a calculation stage and you can get the data from the B2 column to some variable. But automatically, I'm not sure if MX Excel VBO has that option. You're getting my point?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can read entire data and and if you want the particular value, let's say 89, which is B2, that you can programmatically define it, to set the value and get the value from the
Yeah, using
B2.
that,
Yeah,
yeah, using the care value which you told yesterday.
yeah, exactly. So through that you can get
Okay.
it. Mm. But see, I mean, generally, if we are working on a real scenario, right, we'll be getting an Excel sheet, and once you have Excel sheet, you wanted everything to be transferred to your Blue Prism.
Yeah.
And even in Blue Prism, you get everything in collection. So the collection is a final thing. Even the collection is not the final thing. Once you have that in collection, you add everything into work queue that I'll be telling you today. But for
Okay.
now, yeah, the collection is pretty much from where you will be reading row by row and performing all the operations.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Karan, this is my student average sheet which I have
Mm-hmm.
created,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and next to two sheets are empty.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me show the first. This is the one which you told me the first day, na? So that day I have created this one.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm opening this. I have created separate page for opening the thing and put it into a collection.
Mm-hmm.
Then here I am getting total number of rows.
Mm-hmm.
Then finally I am looping that and I am putting the row wise average here.
Okay.
Row wise average in this particular place. And after that again for putting subject wise, each subject wise average, I am again taking the same collection which I have taken here
Mm-hmm.
like this.
So you are running basically two loops, right?
Right. Not two
Okay.
loops. For each and every subject, I am again and again I am taking one collection and I am taking the average of that particular thing and then again I am saving. So it is like
Okay.
so there are four loops. One is for row wise and English subject, then max
Yeah.
subject,
Yeah. But
then
in this
Hindi
case, it will
subject.
be, if you did that, but I mean, see, I mean, to approach any solution, there can be multiple way, right? But
Right,
this
right,
way
right.
looks like very lengthy, and I mean,
Ah,
you should
so
not
this
use
is
so many loops.
so this is one way which you told me the day one to
Yeah.
do this particular task. So
Yeah.
yesterday I have tried with somewhat dynamism.
Okay.
So that particular thing has been reduced to this much, but
Oh,
even
good. Yeah.
then I feel something what I have done is like static only. Here I'm creating one instance, opening a book, reading that and putting into a collection.
Mm-hmm.
Then that collection I am looping it and I am doing a calculation here. So this is normal only. So here comes the that one. So here I
Right.
am putting all the things in one particular multi calculation.
Right. Right.
Then here also I am getting a loop. Then I am taking an average of this one. So here also that particular thing is like a little bit dynamism. So
Yeah.
here I have all the subject wise average in one shot.
Right.
Okay.
Right. Right.
Then I am writing that in a collection.
Mm-hmm.
Finally, here for each and every row wise, so not row wise, it's a subject wise average. I am again doing like this.
Okay. But can't you
So
do like in a loop, in the same loop, the same thing that you are doing here?
that is what I was trying, but I can't able to achieve that. So here, this set English average, set max average, set Hindi average. Here I feel I don't in put the dynamism here.
Okay. Okay. But this thing that you did, it is working, right? At least you
Yeah,
are
which is
getting the
working.
value.
Yeah,
Yeah.
whatever the previous one and this one same. I'm getting the output is same, but
Right.
how
But
to
yeah,
make it
you
more
can, yeah,
dynamism?
you can still make it more dynamic, what I feel. So
Ah,
now here you are writing into a collection, and I mean, so what is the, I mean, why you want to write here in the collection? That is, you can look into, and you can
okay.
still see like, how you can put into everything into the same loop instead of it
One
into
more
different.
difficulty what I faced while doing this, I can able to write this in a collection till
Mhm.
that row wise average only. I can able to add one extra row, but
Mhm.
how to put subject wise average in that collection itself? Because in this set now, what I am doing, I am set value to the Excel VBO only. I am not able to put it in a collection. So if I can
Right.
able to do that subject-wise average in the collection itself, then that will be a more
So
dynamic
what
way
you
to
wanted
do.
to do? Like you again wanted to put into a new collection? Like you already
No,
have data in
as
one
of
collection,
now, correct, correct. In the same
and
collection, I
then
am
again,
using the same collection.
oh yeah. Now let's say once you got a data into one collection, now again after processing, you wanted to send a value like row to the other collection.
No, in the same collection itself, I am adding one row. I was doing that, but since that is not working, I have removed that particular block.
Okay. Okay. See, in the same collection, whatever output that you are getting, right, you can
Uh,
directly write it, right? Instead of I mean, there is two things. So whatever value that you are getting as an output, you can directly go and write to the particular field, like collection dot field name,
Collection dot
field name. Like
field.
see the how you access particular field of a collection. It is collection dot field name, right? So when you
Uh,
want to write some value, using using calculation stage, you can do the same thing. You can just output the value to collection dot whatever your average marks or whatever, whatever
yeah,
output
like
is
this
there.
you are saying, no?
Yeah.
No, for row-wise average, I can able to do, but when I want to do this particular thing
Marks.
now,
Yeah, like subject wise you are saying, right?
here I can able to do because if I give for this,
Yeah.
I am getting this collection as a name collection
Hmm.
dot average. If I put, then I will get the value here, but I can't able to do it here. I have tried that
Okay.
also, but
Okay.
it is not working.
Okay. Okay. So here you are again taking a loop and then you are reading the English mark, and like this,
Ah,
that's what you are doing, right?
right, right, right.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, just think about it, and then probably has anyone else tried it? If there is any better way. Yeah, so that's what, like you did it and it's good actually.
Hmm.
And Lakshman, like what we can do, like just think about it, and then probably we'll come back and we'll see like if there is any better way to do it in
Okay,
later
correct.
sessions. Okay. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
let
but
me
I
stop
feel,
the
yeah,
screen.
yeah, sure. Okay, and how about the exception handling? Are you guys comfortable with exception handling? Anil, Aruna, Arun, Lakshman. So like whatever we have taken from the exception handling, did you understand like what is the basic concept of exception handling and what all we can do it?
Yeah, we have understand, but I didn't still work on it. So let me
Yeah,
work on it and I will come back to you.
sure. So what I can do like today, let us start with some more exception thing. What all more options are there in exception handling, and then slowly we'll take into work queue concepts. Okay. And then accordingly we will proceed. So see, these two topics are very important from Blue Prism perspective. So exception handling and the work queue concept. So based on like see, so as I've already told you, like the control room is where you will be uh, monitoring all your processes and everything. Your bots will be here, all the bots which will be working on all your processes here, and these will be nothing but your available resources or available processes that you have published from your process studio. Then you have queue management here, where you will be creating different queues which will be reflected here, which will active queues are there. And then the last most important thing is reporting. So you wanted to send a daily report or weekly report to your management regarding the processing of the particular automation process that you are working on. Because let's say you are automating something for HR department, as I gave you one of the example, like HR department send you a certain request for terminating these many IDs, right? Like access revoking. Now every morning that you get requests and you keep working on, then there is some SLA defined for every item to be worked on. Now at the end of the day, you processed everything, so you get every record as a one item in this particular queue collection, work queue. So you will have 50 items in your queue, work queue, particular work queue that you have created, and you will be keep working on one by one. So let's say the 10 item, there are exceptions in it, like they didn't process because of some reason. So in that case, what happened, like at end of the day, you'll be sending a report to your HR department that these are the 10 items which are still in exception. So based on that report, they will go tomorrow and they will process them manually, because you was not able to perform because of some reasons. So, but you still don't want to lose the data. So based on the report that you will be sharing to HR, they will revoking the remaining 10 requests from the system.
So, Karan, a quick question here.
Yeah.
So, when you say each process that we create in the process studio will have one, it will show us as one record here, isn't it?
Hmm.
So, if we have multiple pages and in the process studio, we have multiple sub pages also, right? That all
Yeah.
falls under as one single process
No,
on the
no, no, no.
control.
No. See, when we talk about a process, right? So whenever you create a process in a process studio, you give some name to it, right? Let's say I've given a name to it exe1. So
Okay.
I mean, this is my main process. Okay. Now when I go here, I told you, like, in starting session, how to publish a process to control room. Once you
Yes.
click here, you can you can publish it from here. So you publish this particular process. Now this process, uh like, in order to make the process better, what we used to do, we used to create sub pages, and you have option to create a sub process also. You can call a sub process from your main process. So these are different options that you have in order to make your process well structured and efficient. But it is not like if there are 50 sub pages here, then you'll be creating the 50 queues and all. So let's say if you
So
have one
only that
queue.
what is published, only that is published will be shown there.
Yeah, what is the main process that you have, which you have published, will be shown there. Yeah. And basically you add the particular process to the queues, right? So once you have you are processing something and then you add this to queue. So once you go here in the control room, and you click on the queue, you will see that all the item which are part of this particular queue will be reflected here. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's say I have this particular Excel sheet. So every row that you have will be part as a one item in the work queue. Okay, let's say I have six item here. So there will be 6 rows in the work queue. So every row, because every row is the detail of one student or one employee, let's say, and we are working on it, right? So That is how it will work. So you keep working from one step to other step, and if there is any exception, there will be exception. If there is process, so that is how it keep on working. So right now, whatever we are working here is just like we are creating it, and whatever we are running it here is just a manual thing, right? It's not an actual thing that we will be doing when you are in production system. So the main thing is yeah. So as I was telling you that these are very important things in Blue Prism: exception handling, and then queue management, work queue, and then reporting, because based on this only you will define your solution and all. Because once we make a system, we also have to determine, like if that is very efficient, if it won't be fail in production for any reason. And if for any reason it is failing, then we have to catch exception and we have to accordingly handle it. That's why we have a wait stage also, but wait stage can take care till a certain extent. You cannot handle everything through that. But then obviously you have exception handling. So as I told you, exception handling is three types, right? There is internal exception handling, one is business exception, and one is a system exception. So internal exceptions are nothing but whatever issue that you are getting because of the Blue Prism. Like let's say you have not configured your process correctly, or there is some data, there is some code, the configuration is not proper, or the element that you wanted to find is not available. So those are like internal exception. Then there is system exception, when you have created a connection with the database, and the database is down, or there is some network issue is going on. Those are system exception. And business exception is nothing but so there are some rules and all which are there, and because some rules are failing because of some data validation. So those things you'll be defining as system exception. So in order to, we'll take some basic example first. We'll start with, so let's say I'm in Object Studio, and as in Object Studio, let's say you have to like let's say data item here, give one as name X, number value 1, and then there is other data item Y. And now, these days, one more thing, once you're appearing for Blue Prism this exams, right? So they actually are asking some scenario based question, which are very simple only, but they are checking your concepts. The questions are not direct now, like theoretical base. They will be checking the concept that you have, uh, so through the programmatical way, they will make some design and ask you what is the output of this particular thing, like that. So that's why understanding this conceptual thing is very important. So let's say if I have a calculation stage here, and what we do is give a end stage here and connect this. Yeah. So if I run it, so it's showing me the particular internal, you can see internal exception. Now how can I handle this particular internal exception? So for that, we are provided with a recover and resume state. So you'll bring your recover state here and resume state here. So and resume state should always be connected to end stage. So you can either connect this to this particular stage, or you can have one end stage here also. So in this case, if you connect this thing and you will run it, so you'll see that it go from recover to resume to end. So recover state is the one which catch any type of exception. So whatever exception that you are throwing, it's internal, business or system exception, it will always be captured by recover state. And as soon as it captured by recover state and we pass it on to resume state, a resume state will diffuse the exception, and anything if you do from the resume state, it won't be, this exception won't be available, and then you can move to the end stage. So that is that's why, like, it's the work of our designer, like, the developer, like how you efficiently handle the exception. So this is just we are catching the exception, but how we are actually, what we wanted to do this with exception, we just wanted to leave it do we wanted to retry it, do we wanted to pass this exception value, that what we wanted to do, it's up to us. And as soon as it is through the exception and it captured by recover state, and in between, like, it before coming to resume state, this particular object will be in the recovery mode. So in recovery mode, you can get whatever the exception is. You can add any calculation block to fetch the data. So let's say if I add a calculation block here, and here you are provided with exception detail, and you can create some exception detail here. You can store the value. So you can see, like, whatever we have captured here is get stored in this particular variable. Now this is whatever we are doing in the object, at object level we are doing. We are trying to capture the value which is coming out of this, and trying to fetch it. Now there is something called exception. So this exception is not for let's say for recovery and resume. I mean, this is not for use for exception handling, but this is for when we wanted to throw exception deliberately, right? Let's say there are some scenarios where we specifically want, like, to throw some exception and capture the value of the exception. So in that case, we'll be using this particular exception. So if, let's say, if I use this exception here, and yeah, what you can do, like, give some name here, system exception. So when you go to the system tab here, just wanted to show you one more thing. Okay, let me first close it. So once you go to the system tab here, and when you go to exception type here, so you can define your all the exception type of object. So let's say you scan the business object here, see all the exception which are there, as like whatever objects that you have in your object repository, and what all exception that is defined as part of object repository will come here. Now once you go back here and once you open it, so you can see all the exception here, and accordingly you can define the exception. And these exception will never be in a double quote. So these are, like, type of exception. So let's say system exception, try once, system exception. So these, I mean, you can accordingly define it, because these type of, why you are defining this type of exception here, because once you go into the control room, so let's say here, so for a particular item in a queue, you see there is exception date and exception reason. So whatever exception reason that you are defining there will get captured and will be reflected in the particular item in the queue. and based on the reason that you define, the person who is looking into this thing can understand, okay, this is this type of exception and that's his reason, and accordingly he can take action on it. So that's what it's important. So let's say if you define something, system exception, data not valid, run it, let's say what happened. Yeah, so here it didn't capture this particular thing. Now let's say if you bring it here and you have a stage called block stage. Now you define this in block stage. So this block stage is like whatever exception that you are getting because of this particular stage will be captured by this particular exception only. Okay, so I mean this won't able to capture it. So let's say if you just run this, so that's what I mean. So if you define this particular block, it will always be captured. And let's say if you just delete this particular block, and there is one more thing, if you just take everything into the process studio, okay, before that you can do one thing, you can just define one action stage here and end stage, try to link it, just select this particular object that you have created, the action one, just try to run it, see what's happening. Okay, so see y is 0. So the system exception which is captured in the particular object in the downstream system, like in the object, it will come to your process level. So that is what we are saying as exception bubbling. So exception which is every, like, you know, anytime the exception get captured in your object will travel to the all the way to your if since you have not handled it here, it will travel all the way to your main process. So, and if you just paste this here, so now let's see, let's run and see what's, see y is 0. So that's why, like, you know, we have to have capture, we have to capture this this particular exception in any way. And whenever you capture it, even if you don't handle it in your object studio, it will come directly to your one level up. Let's say from object you have one more page here, sub page 1, and instead of capturing it here, you're moving this particular action state to page 1, and in page 1 you are not handling it. Let's say, let me just cut it and put it here. And I'm not handling there, and then I'm just keeping a page 1 here. So now when I will run it again, since it is not handled here, it will get come to the main page, and whatever the exception that we are handling is will get captured. So that is how this keep on moving from from one page to other page to the main page wherever you have handled the exception.
Karan, how why is 0 came there?
See,
On the statement.
yeah. So what happened? See, once you go here, so here, if you just run this particular process, right? So failed to evaluate expression x y y division by 0, right? Now here, in the action stage, we have defined, I mean, here what happened, like when it's going in the calculation stage, you're defining exception detail, right? So the exception detail has been captured as like it is saying that it is system exception, and it is throwing as y is 0. That is why this issue is there. So let me just I mean, ignore this part and then go here. Okay, see, once we are running in Object Studio, so what is happening, it is giving the the current value as failed to evaluate expression. This is the reason that this is giving, right? But since there was nothing here, and because of this, it let's say we just delete this particular thing here and we run this. Same thing, right? So here it is giving this part value, but from here generally what we do, when you are there in Object Studio and you wanted to pass some specific value, so you have to use the exception stage here. Okay, so probably what you will be doing it, you will be just let's say if the value of this particular if x is greater, let's say x is greater than y, let's say this you are taking a decision instead of this. So if you want to deliberately pass something, right, what you can do, if x is greater than y, or let's say better, we just take the example that we have discussed yesterday, it will be more clear to you. So I mean, okay, So here, if you see, we have discussed one thing. So if you go here in this particular object in this process, so yeah, we have a get output. So what we are trying to do is in this particular, in this particular block, we were getting the exception. Let's say here we were trying to find the element and we were not getting it. So this particular recover state captured the error. Okay, but we wanted to some specific value. So what we did after, like once it captured it and it went to exception state, it found that element not found value. We have sent it to this, and this got passed to the main page. So when it goes to the main page here, in the output tab, it will capture the value and it will return to the exception stage. But if you not capture this thing, when it goes to the main page, it will give you the value, like here there it was giving y is 0, because it says that y should not be 0. We cannot divide something by 0. So that internal value what system is trying to capture, it is through to the main page. So that is why you should capture some the val some particular text, like which is user defined, which user can understand it, and you should write always in your exception uh, tab. So you can define anything, system exception, or whatever exception that you want, and then you can give some meaningful name. So when it goes to your item in the work queue, you can identify it. Okay. And then so probably what you can also try is like after your resume state, right? So let's say if I am here in the resume state, you can add one like a decision state here, and so as soon as it get resume, what you can do, like you can let's say you have some counter value. You can create a data item counter and give some number value here. So let's say if I'm giving it 1, counter less than equal to 3. So once it is there, what you can do, if it is less than 3, you can increment the value again. Okay, so like this, and then probably you wanted again. So let's say the issue was there in sub page, right? So what will happen, like here, if the counter is less than 1, it will go and increment it, and then again it will go and do a retry. So probably if let's say if you have a launch page here, I'm just giving example. So let's say if you have a launch page here, probably you wanted to go here and again do a launch. So what you can do, like you can delete this, create an item here. So you can, like this, and if this is not the case, then If it is less than it's equal to 3, then you can throw some exception. So like this, you can try the retry logic based on this. So it will again calculate, and it will again try to go through the particular stage where the problem was. So let's say the problem was here, so you can bring this here and try to do it. So that is how you can make a retry logic to handle the exception. So once we'll be doing a consolidation exercise, I'll show you like how efficiently, because there will be various scenarios, and how we can efficiently handle those exception. It will be more understanding, but this is good to understand the basic concepts, like how we can at least handle these kind of exceptions. Now let's so I think at least the basics of exception handling is clear to you guys, because this is what usually will be required when you'll be trying to capture any exception. So you will be mostly using recover and resume state, and this particular exception type you'll be mostly be using in your object studio. In process studio, mainly you have your recover and resume. Then the block stage is very important, because let's say you have a launch, so you can get exception because of launch page. So you can probably create a block for your launch page, and you can define the exception related to the particular launch page. And then you have a code create code page. In this particular code page, there can be some exception, so you can handle that particular exception separately. So that is how this block stage is very important. And then of course, like how you can get the value, how you can basically preserve the, if you open this, so you have a preserve the type and detail of the current exception. You can preserve the value, and you can pass it on from the lower stage to the upper stage, and so on, like wherever you have handled the exception.
Karan, I have a question.
Yeah.
So exceptions are, maybe you have explained it before, but I wanted to know this. So exceptions are issues, right? Or issues that we know, known issues that we understand it will happen in a process. So in order the process should not stop in between and to continue, we create exceptions, and for that exception we create a recovery so that it continues the process.
Right, exactly.
So
So
when we have an exception, let's say there is an issue, the exception is an issue. So we are creating the solution for that issue in the recovery stage.
right. So
But
this particular exception is nothing but you are defining some, that in this particular scenario, let's say you have a data of, for this particular data is there, right? And this data is blank. Now you don't want this data to be blank. And once you're checking each data by data and you see this data is blank, then you throw the some exception that the particular English value is blank, right? So there you send some meaningful exception that that this should not be there, because this is a business rule. It says that take this part, but we are not taking this path. Then in this case, throw as some exception.
your voice is breaking, Karan.
Okay, is it audible now? Is
Yeah,
it audible now? Okay. Now what I'm trying to say, like you'll be having some business rule, right? So let's say your business rule say like if this, if A and B certified the condition, then take this particular path. But if it don't certify that particular business rule, then what you will do in that case? In that case, you have to throw some exception. So this particular exception that I'm talking about is where you'll be
Wait.
defining your own type, whatever type is there, like file not found, and you can
Actually,
give
we are losing
some
you,
meaning.
Karan, in between.
Okay,
It,
is it audible now? Is
yeah,
it
it's now,
audible?
but as you're talking, is it, it's now good, but as you move, it's like cutting. But I don't know whether it's experiencing me or everybody.
This is for everyone.
Okay.
Not able to hear.
Okay. Give me 1 minute. Let me bring some other headphone. Maybe because of this headphone, this problem is coming. Okay. Just give me 1 minute. Hello.
Yes, Karan.
Yeah, is it better now?
It's too low.
Okay. Hello. Hello.
Yes, Karan.
Let me try it again. Hello. Yeah, I think it should be better now.
Yes, it's clear now.
Yeah. Sorry for that. Now, what I was trying to explain here is, so we have an exception here, right? So whenever you have some business rule defined to take some particular decision, right? Uh, so in that case, if there is, if there is any failure in that business rule, if it is not true and you is returning a false condition, so in that case you define some user defined exception, and you deliberately throw that exception. So that is called, that is why this particular stage exception is provided to us. And this recovery and resume is nothing but, recover will always try to catch any type of exception, either it is raised by system internal, or you are deliberately doing this from this particular exception. So I mean, that's why, I mean, whatever you define here will be get captured in your main process, or wherever you are, trying to handle the exception.
But Karan, my other doubt is that if exception, it could be you're saying system exception, internal exception, and business exception. Business exception, we don't want the process to run if there is an issue. It has to stop, and we have to identify the issue and rectify, isn't it?
Right. Right.
If there is any system exception and internal exception, system exception like network, it will still continue. You're saying that, right? If you have a
Right.
recovery state.
Exactly. I mean, if there is any system exception, then obviously what you can do, maybe you can try the retry logic. You again want to retry it. If again it is throwing the error, then again you wanted to retry it. And that's how you wanted to do it.
But what if the process stops? The analyst can go actually look into the process, right? If it continues and ends to the end stage, then so at the queue management, we have to see what are the exceptions, and then later go and solve one by one. That's how it is.
Yeah, the thing is, the first important thing is the process that we are running here, we are running manually. So in production, I mean, when you will be running in production, this will be running in control room automated manner. You will not have any control, and any process should not stop in between. It should always come to the end stage. So when it will come to the end stage, it will have either the state exception or it will have either the state completed. So those which are completed, when you come in the control room, it will be marked as a green check mark. I don't have something here, but I could have shown you. So it will be marked. So here you see, right, this flag is there, which say that this is an exception case, right? This case must be processed manually. It was marked exception.
Okay.
Now, yeah, if this particular case is a pending case, it's not yet worked. Now you can always what you can do, you can add this. Once this case get processed, it will get I mean red check mark, I mean green check mark, which say that's completed. So if you are getting any system exception or internal exception, then still you have to capture that and then process it to come to that end stage. So that's
Yeah.
our main intention is.
Yeah. We should not this process to be stopped in
Right,
between. So it has to be
exactly,
completed. Yeah.
exactly.
Good.
Yeah. Now,
Thanks.
just we'll discuss something about the work queue today, and then we'll take it from there tomorrow. So, I mean, when we talk about work queue, is nothing but so how we are going to handle our case. I mean, so every item that you see as part of your collection, or as part of your Excel, you are going to add them into a collection eventually. So every row is your case, and you have to work on each and every case line by line, and then your case will be, can either be in exception state or in completed state. So we will see how we can do it and how we can define it. We will take the, let's say, take the same example that we have here. Yeah, so let me delete this thing. What I'm trying to do here, okay, so first thing what I will do, let me add a sub page here, a new page, say read data file. Before doing that, okay, what I can do, like, I can let you know is, once you go into your system manager tab, you can see there is a work queue tab here. So under work queue workflow, there is a work queue tab here, right? So here you can define the name of the queue that you wanted to work on. So this is where you'll be defining the meaningful name of the queue. So let me take let me define a new queue name called travel code, like travel code. Let me define just travel code, and then there are key names and all the things are there, which I will let you know later. But for now, just take it this, and then let's say apply. So once you apply it, and once you go into control room, so here you see that once you go and refresh it, so you can see there's a travel code queue is reflecting here. Now let me first delete all this value which is there.
Okay. Now I don't have anything in my this particular queue. So why we use first thing, why we use work queue, right? I mean, what is the main concept of using work queue here? So what happened, like when we have this particular Excel sheet to work on, and let's say if I have 10,000 rows to be work on, now how I can do it? We cannot add the entire 10,000 column into this particular Excel sheet, right? So what we used to do, we used to have everything in term of work queue, like work item here defined, so that my multiple bots, I mean, which is like, if you go here, you see that uh, there will be there will basically I mean, whatever the bots are defined. So every bot will be working on, like, first in, like, this particular item that you'll be seeing as part of the queue are nothing but first come first out. So the first bot will pick the first item and lock it. So as soon as the first bot will lock it, the, like, it cannot be work on by other bots. So it work on it, it mark it as a like exception or completed, and then other bot will start picking the next item and so on. So that's how I mean, so that every item can be worked in efficient manner. That is why you define a work queue. So probably you can define your work queue in several queues that you want. You can, like, let's say travel code 1 and travel code 2, and then you can process your data accordingly, and it can be worked by multiple bots. So that is why, in order to process your data in very less time and very efficiently, you define work queue. Now let's say how we can define the work queue here. So in the same example, oh, okay, there's my process. Yeah, I think I've closed it out. Yeah. So here, let me define the, first, let me, whatever Excel sheet that I have, let's say I have one Excel sheet here, which is called code. Yeah. So I have all this data in an Excel sheet. First thing is, what I wanted to do is basically I wanted to get all this data into my collection. So in order to add it to work queue, first I have to add it into collection. So what I will do it, if you remember that, in initial session, we have taken this using MX Excel VBO. So first you will create an instance. So then you wanted to open the workbook. And the file name is nothing but the value of the particular sheet. So just copy as path. And output is nothing but you can define the workbook name here. Then you can select third action as get as collection. Get worksheet as collection. So handle and workbook name is nothing but workbook name, and yeah, and worksheet name you can define as whatever name, what name is your sheet is having. Yeah. Let's say you create one collection here, give a name travel. So, okay, just travel and then make it visible to other page. We can go here and in action 3 output, you can just bring the collection here, travel. All right, now let me just run this process and see if we get all the data first. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Before that, we just forgot to do one thing. We just have to add this page. So now what we are trying to do, we are reading the data and then we are adding this to the collection. Yes, so you can see now all the data which are there part of is now is in my collection. Now once I have everything in the collection, what I wanted to do, let me take an action stage here, and I have an internal object provided by Blue Prism which is called work queue, which through which what I can do, you can define the action called add to queue. So after selecting this action, you see you get the input as queue name, data, defer until, priority, tags, status, and these are item IDs. So I will tell you about other things, but for now what you can do. So what is the name of my queue is, so let's first take the name of your queue. So let's say you are using, okay, you are using travel code. Just copy this. So what we are doing here is basically yeah. So here we are going and writing down the queue name, travel code, and what is my collection that I'm going to use. So I've added all the data in this particular collection, right? Travel. So just bring this particular collection here, and in output this is nothing but item IDs. So just leave it blank for now. We'll see, but what we are trying to do here, we are trying to add all the item which is there in my collection into my this particular queue. So let's see what happens. Let me just mark it here. Now I'll stop my process here. Just add a breakpoint and let me run it. Okay. Now let's go here in Blue Prism and then see the control. Yeah, in the control tab, when you click on travel code, click on refresh, you don't have anything, right? So what will happen now is, like, once you step in and you go back, see all the items which was there get added to my travel code queue. So this is how you basically add all the items which is there, you know, as part of your process into a queue item. Now even if you lose, even if you sorry, so even if you lose the Excel sheet, you don't have to bother, because now you have every data that you wanted to process as part of your Blue Prism, which is added into queue. Now you will actually, what you will do, you will take each item from this particular work queue and work on. Now also I told you before that so this is the particular, all the operation that you are doing it for for one customer, right? So what you have to do, you have to call this in particular loop. So before that you should have everything in the collection. So here whatever data that I have, I added to queue. Now what I will do, let me add one more action state. Now I want to start working on the one. Now I wanted to start working on the first item. What I will do, so I have the action stage, and if you select this particular item called work queue, there is action called get next item. So when you click on the get next item, so you can define all the value here. So let me take this particular value, travel code. And output will be so what you can do, you can here is like, so once you take a particular item from the queue, it will assign an item ID to this particular this case, so that it is a specific case that you are starting to work on. So this item ID will be assigned to this particular case. So for that you are defining the item ID. Let's say you define here, and the data is nothing but a collection. So all this particular this particular item will get added into a new collection in your work, in your Blue Prism. So let's say I created a data here, so let me just close it. Now if you just link this thing, so what I'm trying to do here, just go step by step. I'm trying first to read my data and putting into my collection travel empty, right? Travel collection. Now what I'm doing it, I'm basically adding all the data which is there in my first collection into the work queue. This is the work queue I have created, and this is the collection. So I'm saying that add this entire collection in this particular work queue. Okay, now what I'm doing it after adding this to particular work queue, now I wanted to take one item one by one and start working on. So for that, what I'm trying to do, I'm taking the first item, get next item from this particular queue and adding it here. The output will be the item ID assigned to the first item, and it will be storing in the collection. So let's run it. I will first, what I'll do, add a breakpoint here, and then let's delete all this thing first, because it will again. So before deleting, you have to mark the exception first, then only you can delete it. And from here you can refresh it. So now you don't have anything in the queue. Now let me run this process, see what happens. Yeah. Okay. Now once you go here and once you refresh it, so all the item get added to the particular travel code queue. Now see what is the status of all the item. So all this blue dot that you are seeing here is define the status of the item, and the status is nothing but pending status. It is still waiting to be worked on. Okay, now let me just step into. Okay, now you go here and again refresh it. So you see this particular action was nothing but get next item. So it took the first item. It will always take the first item. It is always like first come first out. So the first item got a lock on it. The particular bot, this particular bot has put a lock on it, and it started working on it. So if there is any other bot in the system, it cannot take this particular item because it is worked on right now. So after this, you see, once it passes this step, there is item ID assigned to this particular case that we are working on. So item ID got assigned to it, and if you just open the data item that we are adding this to the particular collection, so the first row got added here. So all the data which is there is for the first row got added here. Now what I can do, these all state, right? I mean, whatever the things that they are doing it will do it for particular row. So if we have to do any input and output, and we wanted to fetch data, from where will be fetching it? From this particular collection. Okay, so what you can do, probably you can put all this, like you can keep launch separate and put all the operation that you are doing as part of this exercise in separate page, and then you can call that particular page from here. And so the question is like, I mean, how? So this is happening only for the first this thing, right? After this get process, this thing, like it comes to end, and it won't process the other state. So for that, what we have the option here, like once you once you are getting the next item, so you have an option here which, let me just, so we have a decision state here. So what you can say, this item ID that you are getting it, right? This item ID is not equal to blank. So if until and unless because you added everything in the collection, and you are taking from row by row from the collection, and as you are taking it from this particular get next item, you are assigning the item ID to this data item. So once you don't have anything here, then the data item will be like the blank. So if it check this condition and it is blank, then what will happen? It will come to end. So you can do this like it's blank, if this condition is satisfied, then do this thing, like then you can go and try make the whatever operation that is there, and if it is not, then you can come to the end stage directly, like this. So that is how you can work on each and every item, loop through and then complete every item, and then if you wanted to write something into your Excel sheet back after you worked on every item, and this you're connecting this no. So what you can do, you can add your output Excel data here, like set a, I mean, you wanted to add something in Excel data, you can write it and then you can end your process. So I mean, just I try to show you what all the basic operation which is there in work queue, and how we can efficiently work on on a work queue items, and this is how actually in production the things will be worked on. So every here, since we have only one bot, so it will be taking data one by one, but in production we'll having several bot assigned to the resource, I mean the particular process. So every other bot, if this is get logged by this bot, then other bot will go and log this other process and keep working on. So it will be very quick, and that is why we have the concept of work queue here in the Blue Prism. So please let me know if you have any doubt in this work queue concept, because this is very important.
Karan.
Hey, hi. Yeah, tell me.
Yeah. So if one item processed by bot, okay, so automatically it will take the second one, or we have to mention something.
Yeah, if
Yes.
one item, yeah, if one item got processed by bot, okay, the next item will be automatically will be taken by the other bot. Like it's all about the lock, right? So let's say if a lock is there, then no bot will touch this. It will get worked by this particular bot only. Okay.
Okay, as per the current scenario, we have only one bot, right?
Right,
So
right.
once
Here
we
it will
finish,
be
it
one
will
by
take.
one. Yeah, it will be one by one.
That one we have not mentioned. So how to go the second one like that, looping like that, we have not mentioned it in the process.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
what here I'll be when I'll go and talk in detail when we'll doing the consolidation exercise, we'll show you that. I just show you the concept here. Maybe you can give it a try tomorrow. You can just try from your end. You got the concept, right? What I'm trying to do here, yeah, I'm trying to read the item ID. So every time it add to this, every time it take the one row, it will assign some item ID to it. Now, if there won't be any item ID, it means that we have processed each and every row of the work queue.
No, my question is, in action 5 only we have defined all the collection details, right? All the queue
Right.
items. Okay, so
Right.
first it will do item. Okay, so we are not mentioned when it completed and go to the second item like that. We not mentioned. So how it will take automatically? It will take.
See, first we have added. Yeah, it like first is added to this particular collection, right? From this Excel sheet, right? After it added to this Excel sheet, what I'm trying to do, I'm adding all the data to the work queue. So let's say if I have 50, I have 50 rows in this particular travel collection. So I'll be creating a 50 rows in my work queue. So there will be 50 rows. Now each row will be worked one by one. Now what I am going to do here in this action, I'm taking get next item, which will fetch the first row in the particular work queue. Okay. Now after, as soon as I take it, I assign some item ID to it. If you see in output, I assign some item ID to it and add to a new collection. So it will take the first item next, yeah, and then there is a decision state which says that until item ID is not blank, keep moving into this particular, this is my main operation, right? So you'll be keep looping into, yeah, you'll be adding one loop here. and then you will be looping it in this particular operation. And once you don't have any item ID, you will come out of loop and then you will end your process.
Okay, so here we have to add the loop, right?
Right, you have to add the loop. So what you can do basically, you can take everything into a different page, because this is your main operation. So you can take everything in a different page. You can call it from here one the sub page, wing sub page, and call it, perform the action there, then come back, check if you have any item. So accordingly you can do it.
Okay, so here that is okay. So the looping is missed here, right? So we have to add the loop, and we can loop it one
Right,
by one.
exactly. That's what you have to do. Yeah.
Okay. Another one thing is, so instead of work queue, we can manage it in the loop level, right?
In the instead of work queue, you can manage in loop level. I mean, I didn't get
That
you.
action 5 is it's for that is queue creation, right? We are
Right.
creating based on the collections. Okay.
Right.
So without that also we can achieve that one, right? Using collections, we can loop it, and we can do one by one.
Exactly. I mean, what I'm trying to say, like this, we have already taken, right? I mean, without using the work queue, through the same collection, you can loop in the collection and you can achieve your result, right? Now,
Yes.
when you will be working in in live environment, you won't be working local on your Blue Prism. I mean, this will be automated system and it will be taken care by the work queue items.
Okay.
So it is very mandatory that you have to add entire collection item into your work queue.
Okay.
Yeah, because see what happened at end of the day.
More than one bot is working, that time it will be useful.
Exactly, and since see here I'm working on my local system, that's why I have one bot, right? When you will be working in production, you will be having a multiple bot assigned to this process,
Okay.
and it will be very fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Karan.
Yeah, no problem. So yeah, guys, I mean, for today, I mean, just try this thing from your end. Just try to add entire thing into one page and try to call it and see if that works for you. Otherwise, we will take tomorrow. We'll see how end-to-end things work from the working perspective. Any other doubt you have, or let's conclude the session today and then we can join tomorrow.
Thanks, Karan.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Karan.
Thanks.